Ooh, we can pop them. What? Oh, I love this. I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is my modded adventure. Now today is going to be a big day. We're gonna hopefully go to the Nether and hopefully obtain some upgrades for our wizarding needs. That's right, we should be able to upgrade most of our gear and get ourselves into tier 2 armor and into a tier 2 spellbook, which will grant us access to some really amazing skills. This is going to be perfect. We'll be able to use spells and we'll also have new abilities on our gear. But first, we need to, well, upgrade the base of our armor. And that in the wizarding world is referred to as an alteration table. Now, it does need to be placed in. It looks like the other direction. Sometimes these can be a little difficult to place in, but there we go, an alteration table. So the cool part about this is we can put our gear inside of this, just like so. And notice we have a little bit of a glyph here, something that kind of lets us know what's going on. Now, in our book, it does tell us what this does. It's very descriptive, actually. Up here in the documentation, we can go underneath the armor and perks, and you can see right here, the alteration table talks in depth about all of this gear. This book is amazing, so I recommend checking it out if you haven't. But we want to apply threads. That's right, and this is the table that we do it from. Now, threads is going to give us an ability, like base abilities, which are pretty cool, such as the ability for us to have breath longer underwater, and Drink Me, for example, which would give us the ability to have an extra looting on our gear, which would be very helpful once we go to the Nether. Now, all of this stuff combined, I think I'm going to pick some of my favorites because we can only have 4 as of right now. We have 4 pieces of gear and unfortunately only 4 different slots available with the base gear. But of course, upgrading our gear will allot for more. So we are going to need blaze rods in order to get there and some source. So we've already got source sorted out. Now we just need to go to the Nether. But like I said, we have a tier 1 as of right now, which gives us 4 slots. Now, let me do my best to explain how this works once I get some threads up and running. So of course, after getting a little bit of rest, which I ended up making myself a nice little bedroom here underneath, which I think is perfectly fitting. Why do I need a large area when I can have this nice little hobbit hole? But anyways, back up top, if we go up all the way to the very top, we are going to need to use our enchanting apparatus. So I have some things set up here and they're ready to go. So what we're going to need, let's do first the Drink Me one. So if I place all of the required ingredients for the Drink Me in, and then I apply a thread, it should give me one of the threads that I'm going to need. And I have one set out for each of these. Now the threads that I'm going to be using is going to be as such. Oh, there we go. Let's take a look at this. So if we go into ours and we take a look at the threads, basically the ones that I'm going to be setting up is a thread of repairing, which is going to help repair some of our gear. And then I also set up for the thread of the heights, which allows us to jump a little bit higher, which is going to be very handy. And then also magic capacity, which is nice. And then of course, Drink Me. Now that we have all of the threads set out, let's go ahead and figure out how this works. So right here, we have that symbol. This is basically telling me that I have a tier 1 slot available. And as you can see, it is currently empty. Now, as we upgrade, we'll get more slots and those slots will increase in their value. So the higher, I think it goes up to tier 3, the higher the effect is that is set up for whatever these do. For example, the Drink Me, it would give you extra stacks of looting, which would be very nice. And of course, you have it on a tier 3, it'd give you the 3 extra stacks of looting, which would be pretty nice. Same with the jump, it would make you jump higher, even higher, and so on and so forth. Now to apply it, you just simply place it on here, and then we just put the thread basically on there. And as you can see, it's going to apply. Now you do get to select what thread goes where. And of course, we'll be able to apply more later on. And you get to choose how powerful you want this. Because I believe there'll be some that'll be like tier 1. You'll have another slot that'll be tier 2 and so on and so forth, depending on how we upgrade our gear. So of course, when we put this on, it's going to affect us and give us those base effects, which is really nice. It doesn't really matter what piece of gear you put it on, but keep in mind that I believe they're not stackable. So if you want like extra stacks of magic capacity, it doesn't work that way. You only get to put one of these on, and you just need to make sure you put it in the higher tier up to the max of 3, for example, because magic capacity is really nice. It gives you extra capacity on your mana, which as you can see, works right there. And of course, if we had that in a higher slot, it would give us even more. So pretty darn worth all of this. Of course, the threading is going to allow it to repair over time quicker, just to make sure we don't break all of our gear. And there we go. So we're now all equipped, and we should be able to jump a little bit higher. Let's actually test that. I think we can get a fence, and we might be able to now jump over a fence. So as you can see, with that, we now can clear fences, which is really, really nice. Now, again, before we head off into the Nether, I also want to equip a magnet, and this is going to be very nice because you can set a hotkey to toggle this magnet on and off, and it's going to be very nice. So we don't have to worry about items potentially dropping into lava when we kill a blaze or fire. As you can see, after setting the hotkey, I can now toggle the magnet on and off, and it actually goes inside of the Kuro slot, so which is pretty nice. Now, remember that warp scroll that we used a few episodes ago? Well, we actually can use it in a different way, and we can make it unbreaking. And believe it or not, because we got super lucky and we had a wandering trader come by and offer us some blaze powder, we can make this scroll completely unbreakable. Now, I do want to go in here and call this home, and we can assign it a name. And if you were to use this later on to actually make a portal with it, it would actually assign the name onto the portal, which will be pretty cool. We'll talk about that later. Of course, that's not something I'm doing right now. But what I want to do is take this and upgrade it. So if you see right here, we can upgrade it or we can duplicate it for a little source, but we just need 2 ender pearls and 4 blaze powder. That is pretty nice. That's not too bad at all. And the blaze powder, like I said, we do have. Normally you'd have to go to the Nether before being able to make this, but it's going to be super handy for us that we can make it now, allowing us to, while we're in the Nether, teleport back home, no problem at all. Like at any time. We can just go, you know what? I want to go back home. And that works anywhere. No matter what dimension we're in, we should be able to do this. So just click it in, and there we go. This is really useful. We're probably going to use this for a lot of things, and this is going to allow me to basically travel throughout my world. Now, I know a lot of you guys have mentioned to me, Chosen, why don't you use the FTB/home? It's because normally in single player worlds, I tend not to use those commands. I use them on servers, but I don't normally use them in a single player world. I tend to like to explore the other possibilities and options for teleportation, such as this awesome one, which allows us to generate a portal by clicking the ground. And there we go. We should have a portal we can walk through, and it teleports us back home. It's that simple and absolutely amazing. Another little quick tip about those portals is entities can also be teleported through the portal. So later on, when you make a permanent portal, yeah, entities can travel through them, such as the Wither, as I've tested multiple times. Now, there is one other thing that I should probably do before heading into the Nether, and that is to make a shield. Yes, we should be able to use this shield, and I think we can upgrade it and potentially use some of the gems that we have from Apotheosis in order to upgrade this. So it just requires a little bit of this, and I think this shield, when upgraded, should carry over all of its stats and enchantments. So I hope. I don't actually know, but we'll be able to find out here. And there we go. So now we should have a shield, and yes, it does carry over all of the Apotheosis things. So now that we have this shield, which by the way, when we take damage while holding this shield, basically what it does is it will give us regeneration and increased spell damage. So if we're using spells to attack enemies, this is a really nice addition. Now, while having this, notice we get 16% armor and toughness, and it also will deal projectile damage back to the enemy that hit me with it. And I believe we can actually augment this and add jewels, but we are going to need a smithing table in order to do this. So let's just place down a smithing table. And do we apply jewels through the smithing table? I thought we applied them. I could be wrong. Nope, we apply them through the smithing table. So right there, you see a 15% health with this one, and this is going to give me 10% armor on top of that. So now we have a decked out shield that should give us a bit more health, so long as we can regen. And I want to use these sweet berries, which are really, really nice. They're super easy to craft, and they also give us quite a bit of saturation. And notice, we're going to have some extra hearts. Oh boy, I think we're getting enough. We're getting strong enough to be able to take on the Nether. And you thought I was done. There's one more thing that I absolutely want to make, and you can make multiples of these. And what this is a wand. Yes, this is pretty cool because what it allows us to do is inscribe spells onto an item. So any of the spells that we have in our book, of course, we have to at some point select them, right? Or set a hotkey to it. Well, we can actually assign a spell to this enchanter's wand, which would be very nice, such as Dispel, which can remove negative effects, such as the Wither, right? That would be great to be able to remove that on demand. Now for this, I'm going to use two different glyphs, a glyph of Rune and a glyph of Dispel in order to get this. Now, the enchanter's wand, with the way it works, is by default, it automatically applies a projectile and accelerate. So when we build ourselves a spell by placing that on here, we go ahead and build a spell by opening up our book and selecting an empty spell slot. We don't have to worry about applying the projectile, which means it can give us technically 2 more slots to our spell than using it inside of our book. Now, in order to use this, what I want to do is hit a Rune and then a Dispel. Basically, because it's a projectile and I can't cast a self with this, I want it to basically go on the floor, and then the spell that comes after this will be on that rune. So what should happen is whenever we shift right on this, we have now set the spell to R1, and you can see projectile, accelerate, rune, Dispel. Meaning when we cast this, there's now a rune on the ground, and when we step over it, we now received Dispel. That's pretty cool. And I think that could be very helpful. Of course, I also can't forget about enchanting, and with all of the quest rewards, I have quite a bit of XP to sort of spend. And hopefully we get something nice like protection. Look at that. We got some basic protection here. Ooh, let's also enchant our sword. So that'll give us more beheading. Ooh, and life leech. Oh, that's powerful. Some extra block reach. Ooh, that'd be kind of useful as well. Multi-jump. Ooh. I don't really want gloom. I think that applies like negative effects. But we can always, of course, enchant these. Now, I definitely want things like mana boost on here. Oh, man. But I would really love it if I could also get some protection as well. So I think after all of that enchanting, this is pretty darn good. I like all of this. We have extra mana, as you can see by the rate there. And so we have a little bit of mana regen, a little bit more mana capacity, and I will take all of that. Very nice. Now I also decided I probably need a bow, and as soon as I get this made and we apply ourselves a spell to this, I think we're ready to go. So yes, this is pretty cool. By default, it should shoot a spell arrow. As you can see, we don't have any, but if we go ahead and we place this down and we apply a spell to it, for example, this empty spell here, and we say, let's do harm and amplify, 2 amplify, which is the max. And then we apply that. This should hopefully allow us to shoot an arrow that once it hits the enemy, it applies those effects. And can be kind of complicated. You can get into a different arrow types and stuff like that, but still, this is pretty darn useful. As you can see, it should have applied the harm to that. Let's see, what's the health look like? Yeah, that done quite a bit of damage. 2 arrows, and it's basically done. Yeah, I like this. And I don't know if this is going to work, but this is multi-bow. Will this shoot multiple arrows? It does. So it shoots out 2 normal arrows as well. Oh, as if this isn't any more powerful. Oh my goodness. Now, I sort of had this idea for starting the portal. I wanted it to sort of be the entrance, basically, to this whole setup. And I think this is going to look really nice. So, ignite the portal, and notice that now we have this cool entrance into our mage tower. Yes, not only is it our portal, we can just simply walk through it, but it looks really cool. It's like this magical shield that we have to break through to get in. Oh, I really love it. Now, I think I have everything ready to go, so without further ado, let's go to the Nether. Oh boy. And hopefully we get a good spawn. You know, I would actually call this a fairly nice spawn. Getting an area that is relatively protected is so nice. So nice. And look, we have quartz right away. Now, one thing I have done, by the way, is I want to modify my spell break. By default, I have it set to touch, but I actually want this to be a projectile. And then I have break with an amplify. Don't really need the amplify, it's just to break obsidian. And then we have the pickup, which puts the items into our inventory. So whenever I shoot this, as you can see, the quartz goes right into my inventory, meaning I can farm at a distance, which is so nice. Oh boy, right away, we're getting hit with these guys. Oh, yeah, I was not ready for this. Okay, whew, we survived, and they ended up dropping a magma block. Oh boy, so that's just an example of some of the things I'm going to be dealing with in this dimension. Oh, little dragons. Now on my map, I definitely want to make sure to set a waypoint. So this is going to be our portal, and make sure to add a waypoint here so I don't get lost. I want to be able to find this place again. I do want to head west because it looks like on our mini map there is a fortress over here, but there is also a fortress over here. And that's one of the perks of having sort of a mini map, is we have the ability to essentially locate things. Oh my gosh. This place is beautiful, by the way. What a beautiful little nether biome. Oh boy. Now, of course, I do want to use my spells to the best of my ability so I don't fall. Oh goodness, but guys like this. No. No, dragon, quit. Ah, it set me on fire. Unfortunately, we have no way to help ourselves against fire issues. Oh, aside from just going and hoping we don't fall in lava. Ooh, this is nerve-wracking. Oh, I think I have found the most cursed biome of all. Oh, pus bubbles? Oh, it's gross but satisfying at the same time. Ooh, we can pop them. What? Oh, I love this. As much as this biome is very disgusting, and this is hair. Oh, everything's moving. There's eyes. Ooh, they're giving me the eye right there. But these are so satisfying. I just want to pop them all. Oh, just let me do this. It'll be a moment. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm super satisfied now. Oh, now to find that nether fortress, which I believe is right around the corner here, and that's going to give us access to blaze. Oh, which is definitely going to increase tons of things we can do with the Ars Nouveau mod. Aha, and off in the distance it is. Yes. Oh man. So we should be able to easily hop over there and start exploring. Of course, we need to be very careful and avoid wither skeletons at all costs. Oh boy. Can I make it? Yes. Also, blazes are going to be very important to avoid as well. Oh boy. Thankfully, this is actually really powerful at destroying these guys. Will it work for this? And yes. Oh goodness. And we get the blaze rod, most likely because we do have a level of looting that we get from the drigme that's on our gear. Oh, super nice. But one of the main things I want to do is, of course, find another spawner. There was one back there, but we should be able to find another spawner that hopefully is enclosed. That would be very nice. Or we could just set this one. That's perfectly fine as well. Yeah, we would just have to do the enclosing ourselves here. Oh boy, letting them get away is kind of terrifying. I'm going to need more than just one blaze rod. So, yes. Oh, we got both of them. Very nice. Whew. Yeah, this is something else. But what I should be able to do is actually set my spawner location, my spawn location here. I want to make another one of these warp scrolls. So I do have a warp scroll on me. We just need to set our position. And so I'm going to set it right here. And now we have a scroll that we could use later on once we get back and convert this into a permanent one, allowing us to come here on our whim. Now, of course, I need to do more exploring than just this. I want to see if I can find some loot chests as well. Oh yes, perfect. This, if you find this, you know you're somewhere. That's going to be super helpful. So we should be able to find nether wart somewhere around the corner. Ooh, that's cool. Brimwood. That's a neat looking wood. Look out, buddy. All right, so nothing here. We definitely need nether wart so we can start the production of brewing potions. We should be able to find that down one of these corridors. Hopefully right down here. Maybe. Okay, not here. Oh, but there are loot chests, so we are getting close. Let's see what these loot chests contain. Okay, that's nice. So lots of goodies. Ooh, a slime pearl? That could be super helpful. And of course, need to make sure all of this gets put into our backpack. Now, I don't know about you, but it is very dark in here. So this is where the night vision comes into play. And oh boy, is that so much better. That is so much better. Very bright now, so I can see. Of course, I still want to be able to place down lights. Ooh, a horseshoe accessory. That's nice. Oh, and we got a smithing. I've not seen with the smithing. What is this? Self-launch glide duration. Oh, that's an elytra. That's an elytra spell. Yes. We just got the elytra spell. Look, it allows us to glide like we have an elytra on. Oh, this is such a nice spell book to find. I don't know how we got super lucky and found it in this chest, because there are tons of spell books you can find like this. And this one being a pretty rare one. Ooh, there are also these pots that we can break as if we're playing Zelda. Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. That worked perfect. Killing that thing quickly. But yeah, it's as if we were playing Zelda. Like we can break pots. Aha. Here we go. Nether wart. Just what I was needing. Also grab some of this soul sand as well. Anything else good in here? Ooh, more gems? And I love getting all of the R stuff, like the wild and wings. Yeah, at this point, I can definitely say this bow is phenomenal. Look at this. Wow. I think it's the bow in combination with, of course, the multi-arrow that it applies. And this isn't even using augmented arrows, because that could make things even crazier, like splitting spells and stuff like that. Ooh, diamonds and a trident? Yes, please. Wow, that brimwood looks amazing. This whole biome area looks amazing. Wow. So of course, farming a few blazes. I went ahead and put a roof on here. Oh man, if you're up close, like it insta-kills them, which is super nice. Oh, we ended up getting a molten core, and we have 12 blaze rods. That should be enough in order for us to head back home. So yeah, a total of 23. That is plenty. Look at this. Boom. And this allows us to head right back home. How are you guys doing? Now, of course, we need to take our warp scroll and, of course, to make this a permanent one, which will allow us to teleport to the Nether anytime we need to farm some more blaze rods. Oh, this is a beautiful part of this mod. And, of course, it's about time we upgrade our armor. Now, since I'm using this a lot, I think it might be fitting at this point to, well, upgrade it a little bit, or at least how we handle this. So I'm going to place a barrel here, and I'm going to use a modular router to basically pull the items from this barrel into here. So to do that, puller upgrade facing the front. That's pretty straightforward. Now then, what I wanted to do is to send the items round robin to all of the platforms here. And so this is going to take those items that I put into the barrel and should send them here. And so if I'm going to be doing multiple tasks, this should be able to handle this. For example, the next task is going to be upgrading my gear. And to do that, well, we're going to need a little bit of source. So I'm going to grab the source. But as you can see, we can basically take the blaze rods and we can just send 2 blaze rods, and it's going to evenly distribute those rods into here, making this a little bit easier. So I don't have to go around this thing and hand place them all. That's going to make it super, super simple later on when we go to do more complex things. Upgrade my gear, I'm just going to simply place some source jars nearby, and it's going to pull from these source jars. Later on, we could have these automatically refilled, which would be very handy. And auto crafting could potentially take place with this whole setup in a very similar fashion. Specifically using like applied energistics, which has a lot of functionality. So anyways, let's go ahead and upgrade our first piece of gear. There we go. See that gets consumed. And this is going to not only upgrade what we currently have stored in it, it might potentially give us some more slots on a few of our other armor pieces. which is only going to make things better. Notice now it is a tier 2, which means we get a Drigme 2. And now we also have another empty slot. So I think to put this in perspective, if I pop all the way down and I put this on here, notice we have another slot. That's right. We have another slot, but it's only a tier 1. As you see, the Drigme is in the tier 2, and this is a tier 1 slot, meaning it would only get that tier 1 effect. So once all of the gear is upgraded, notice that we have a tier 3 slot on our chest piece. This also has a tier 3 slot on our pants, and we have a tier 2 slot and a tier 2 slot on our helmet and boots. And so we also get tier 1 slots that are now available on all of the other pieces as well. The downside of me having the heights, which basically allows me to jump, is I can't really at this level use my elevators anymore, which is kind of a bummer. But we could put that potentially in some other slot. I think going for a tier 1 on that, which by the way, to change these, we just simply pull it off, and then we should be able to apply it to the tier 2 slot if we put something else in its place. For example, I think Drigme would be really good to sort of put in its place, because that's a tier 3 spell that I would much rather have on my in a tier 3 slot. That would give us more, of course, more looting, which I think would be definitely worthwhile. So I'm going to put the Drigme there. And then what I can do is on this, I can fill up that second slot now on my chest piece, giving me heights only in that tier 2, which I still can jump over fences and use this, just not as good, right? It does take a little bit more time to use this. It's not instant, which is unfortunate, but there are going to be other ways that we teleport around eventually anyways. Now, with all of that, I think the things I'm going to use, I think magic capacity is perfectly fine there. Repairing is fine. And then we have some others. And now that we have this available, making some of these other threads are going to be really nice. But there is one other thing we need to do. And that is, well, upgrade our spell book. And that's right. We should now be able to take the quartz and all of the good stuff that we just got from our adventuring and upgrade our gear. So, do I have everything needed in order to upgrade this? I should. Let's see. I'm missing the diamonds, but we got those while adventuring. And there we go. Upgraded tier 2 spellbook. And now we get access to all of these tier 2 spells, such as AoE, which is amazing. Now I've got to get this AoE right away. And to make a fireworks star, of course, JEI is not going to show you how to do this. But it's just a piece of gunpowder and dye, any color. And then that should be enough for us to make the AoE, which is 100% worth it. It's going to allow us to mine a lot bigger of an area, which is going to be very nice. And of course, we just place this down. Boop. And there we go. We're ready to go. AoE is being crafted. Along with this, there's also another spell that is fairly new in this section. Outside, of course, crush and everything like that, there is a crush and smelt, which allows us to do some cool things in world, but we have an extract, which basically allows our break spell to have silk touch applied to it, which is going to be amazing for harvesting stone. With this newfound knowledge, let's go ahead and make a new spell that is going to go onto our wand, and that is going to be break. And then we are going to hit this with a couple of AoE and then an extract, and then the item goes in our hand. With this, we should be able to apply this onto here. And this will be pretty cool. This should allow us to essentially mine a 3x3 area that is silk touched. And I think that is going to be very, very handy. So, yes, just like that, as you can see, I can mine a 3x3 and it silk touches the stone. Now, I think with all of this, we've definitely accelerated our journey and now have access to the Nether, which opens up a ton of new things, such as some things that we might get started with soon in Create. That's right, the Create mod we're going to be dabbling in very, very soon. Now, if you've enjoyed this series thus far, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And of course, guys, join the Discord, discord.gg/ChosenArchitect, and join the amazing crew today. Guys, I thank you so much for watching, and of course, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Maxeratus LP, thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. I thank you guys so very much. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.